Part 44. Landing 300 years in advance. Author, Chaoji Dupang. Chapter 435. Wulong's bad luck started when he met Chen Ronghuo. Ever since he wanted to kill Chen Ronghuo and devour him, he had bad luck for a long time. First he was injured by Wu Tianchuo, then his lair was destroyed, and then he was plotted against by the people of the Dark Hall of the White Bone territory, forcing him to join the Dark Hall and transform into a White Bone demon. He remembered all this. He remembered that the Holy Tiger sect was his enemy, and he also remembered that Chen Ronghuo was his enemy. The reason why his cultivation level improved so quickly was that after joining the White Bone territory, he accidentally obtained a powerful tiger demon corpse. "You are so brave that you dare to wait for me here." Wulong saw that Chen Ronghuo seemed to be waiting for him to come over after seeing him, and a trace of ferocity immediately appeared on his face. He released the power of his soul, and after finding that there was no one else around, the ferocity on his face reached its limit. He obviously didn't know Chen Ronghuo's current strength. "Boy, run, this guy is a pervert. You run east, I run west, he can only chase one of us at most, and then you still have a 50% chance of survival." At this time, the Black Tiger of Misfortune, which also discovered Chen Ronghuo and Wulong, seemed to know Chen Ronghuo, but had a strong hatred for Chen Ronghuo, immediately shot a black light in its eyes. It was almost driven crazy by Wulong. Among the same level, it believed that its strength was outstanding. Especially the law of misfortune that it condensed, it was invincible. But this time when it faced Wulong, it knew the pain of being restrained. Its law of misfortune, as well as other means, did not work on Wulong. When Chen Ronghuo heard the Black Tiger of Misfortune speak, he ignored it. This guy obviously wanted to use him to attract Wulong's attention and then escape. But for him, today, whether it was Wulong or this Black Tiger, he wanted it. "Today I will kill you to prove my decades of hard work, and at the same time I will clear the door for the Holy Tiger sect." Chen Ronghuo took a step forward and locked Wulong with his aura. This aura. Wulong, who was originally ferocious, suddenly changed his face after Chen Ronghuo released his aura, like a mouse that met a cat, and was about to escape in an instant. His eyes fell on Chen Ronghuo, revealing a strong sense of disbelief. Boom! But before Wulong could act, Chen Ronghuo's power had already exploded. In the blink of an eye, he flew over the head of the Black Tiger of Doom and appeared in front of Wulong, raised his palm, formed into a tiger claw, and grabbed Wulong. When he grabbed with his claws, the void trembled, as if it could not bear the burden and was about to collapse. The power of the devil. The strongest move in the Gi secret technique. It is also Chen Ronghuo's strongest move for attacking. If he had not deliberately controlled the power of his attack, he would have pierced through the void with his claw. Wulong, whose true cultivation was one level higher than Chen Ronghuo, felt the horror of Chen Ronghuo's attack, and his muscles exploded. The terrifying power surged out like a volcanic eruption, reaching his right hand, and then fiercely moved forward, turning into a huge black tiger claw, facing Chen Ronghuo's attack. Great Black Heaven Tiger Claw. Boom! With a loud bang, when Chen Ronghuo's tiger claw and Wulong's tiger claw collided, the void between the two people exploded completely. A pure black hole appeared, and everything around was attracted by the terrifying suction and rushed into the black hole. But before the black hole healed under the power of the world, Chen Ronghuo's figure was like an indestructible body, spanning the black hole in the void, fearless of the raging space storm, and further shortened the distance with Wulong. Seeing Chen Ronghuo getting closer and closer to him, Wulong immediately wanted to retreat. But his eyes fell on the big hand that Chen Ronghuo grabbed at him, and he saw that there was a dark devil-like eye in the palm of Chen Ronghuo's open hand. The eye stared at him straight, as if it saw through his heart, and then led him to reveal fear, which made him freeze in place. Return to 1. Demonic soul. At this time, Chen Ronghuo had burned the power of faith. At this time, he was fighting with Wu Long here. If it lasted too long, it might attract the attention of the people of the Black Demon Palace. Next, he was going to save Huang Lin. If he attracted the people of the Black Demon Palace, it would be very disadvantageous to his next plan. Therefore, he made a move, and it was a killing move. Boom! Wu Long, who was frozen in place, finally recovered from Chen Ronghuo's secret technique, but when he recovered, Chen Ronghuo's big hand had reached his chest. With a loud bang, Chen Ronghuo's tiger claws fell on Wu Long's body and pierced through his body directly. You. Wu Long widened his eyes. He looked at Chen Ronghuo, who was so close to him, and at the hand that Chen Ronghuo had inserted into his heart. His face was extremely pale. This time he accidentally found the Black Tiger of Doom in the Shenyang territory, and then found Chen Ronghuo. He thought he was finally starting to get lucky, but he didn't expect that what he thought was lucky would become the end of his life. Zzz. A series of black lightning flashed from Wu Long's chest, wrapped around Chen Ronghuo's hand, and then turned into a black lightning chain with countless strange runes flashing, which was collected by Chen Ronghuo. He practiced a total of 9 laws. The other laws in the 9 laws were fine. But the blood law he cultivated was only the blood law of the golden-haired mad tiger, which could only reach the 9th level at most. So he had to perfect it in the future. And the innate runes contained in Wu Long's tiger-devouring divine body just played a huge role in perfecting his own blood law. As he put away the innate runes transformed by the tiger-devouring divine body, Chen Ronghuo moved his mind and also put away Wu Long's body. Wu Long, who was extremely powerful in his eyes in the past, was killed in his hands with just 2 moves when he went all out. Chen Ronghuo thought of the scene decades ago when Wu Long appeared from the top of the mountain and tried to attack the Holy Tiger warship, and shook his head. That scene seemed to have just passed not long ago for him now. He turned his head and his mind was shrouded in the distance. He saw that when he fought with Wu Long, the doomed black tiger had already fled hundreds of miles away. Chen Ronghuo raised his eyebrows. If the black tiger of misfortune had fled in another direction, it might be a bit troublesome for him to chase it. After all, this is not his territory. But the direction of the black tiger of misfortune was the direction he had just flown from. Chen Ronghuo waved his hand and took out the black and white world map. Whoosh! The 2 world maps were opened, and Chen Ronghuo's figure flashed and he had returned to the continent of gods. Whoosh! The big river crab repositioned and opened a new passage. Chen Ronghuo's figure flashed again and appeared hundreds of miles in front of the black tiger of misfortune that was running fast. Sensing the black tiger of misfortune running wildly in the distance with all its strength, Chen Ronghuo's mind moved, and suddenly restrained his breath, summoned a cloud of auspiciousness, stepped on it, put his hands behind his back, raised his head slightly, and waited quietly. Landing 300 years in advance. Author, Xiaoji Depeng. Chapter 436. World of Gods. Panbo's death quickly attracted the attention of the White Tiger territory. There are less than 10 8th level practitioners in the White Tiger territory, even including Panbo. Now that Panbo died inexplicably, the White Tiger territory naturally attaches great importance to it. The White Tiger Grand Duke sat on the Lord's throne, touching the armrest of the throne, and said gloomily, "Just now, the news came from the Hall of Requiem that Panbo's natal mark left in the Hall of Requiem has dissipated. In these years, Mengtian of the Crab Island, which is attached to the Black Dragon territory, has killed many people in our White Tiger territory openly and secretly. This time I plan to let Panbo go to eliminate the Crab Island. But now, there is nothing wrong with the Crab Island, but Panbo is dead. What do you think? Crab Island?" Everyone raised their eyebrows when they heard this. Although they have heard of the Crab territory in these years, they don't know how many people in their White Tiger territory Mengtian has killed in these years. But the White Tiger Grand Duke, who has a separate intelligence system, knows. That is why Grand Duke Behu sent Panbo to the Five-Colored Sea area, intending to have Panbo take down Chen Ronghuo's river crab territory directly. In revenge, he also killed a chicken to scare the monkey. Although Panbo died on the way to the Five-Colored Sea area this time, the person who killed him should be someone from the Black Dragon territory, right? An old man opened his eyes and said, I have heard of this river crab territory, and I have also heard of that Meng Tian, a young cultivator with short hair that stood up like wild boar. Thorns said coldly, it is said that Meng Tian hid very deeply. At the beginning, he only showed the peak of the 7th level, and later revealed that he had a half-step 8th level. But half-step 8th level is only the 7th level. This time Panbo died because of the river crab territory. No matter whether the person who killed Panbo was someone from the Black Dragon territory or died for other reasons, the river crab territory must be buried with Panbo's death. If the Grand Duke needs it, I am willing to go to the Five-Colored Sea area and flatten the river crab territory. Grand Duke Behu glanced at the young man who spoke. The young man's name is Bai Chunping, he is his nephew, and he has the cultivation of the middle stage of the 8th level. If Bai Chunping takes action, it will be easy to flatten the Hexi territory. After thinking for a moment, the White Tiger Duke said, your companion Tiger Beast should be promoted soon, right? Yes, in these few days. The young man showed a bit of pride in his eyes. His companion White Tiger, if promoted again, will be the late 8th level. When his White Tiger is promoted, he will not be far from being promoted to the late 8th level. In this case, wait until your White Tiger is promoted and go to the Hexi territory. The White Tiger Duke knocked on the armrest and ordered, this time, I want to kill everyone in the Hexi territory, let those who wear the Black Dragon territory see the consequences of going against my White Tiger territory. Don't worry, Duke, I will complete the task. The Land of Sealed Demons. Chen Ronghuo stood quietly in the void with his hands behind his back, looking far away. In the distance, the Black Tiger of Doom, with its smooth and translucent fur, was running wildly in the void with all its might. It was running very fast. But as it was running, it suddenly felt something was wrong. It turned its head and looked back, but found that there was no trace of Chen Ronghuo and Wu Long. But just when it turned back, its eyes suddenly focused and saw Chen Ronghuo, who appeared in front of it in the distance. How could it be? Seeing Chen Ronghuo, the Black Tiger of Doom almost bit off its tongue. Is it seeing a ghost? It is a half-step 8th level demon. This level of demon is definitely a big demon in the Shenyang territory. Generally speaking, even a 9th level strongman would not be so elusive and run from behind him to in front of him in an instant. Especially when Chen Ronghuo was fighting with Wu Long just now. It took a deep breath and slowly stopped. He asked cautiously, Senior, did you chase that villain away? Fight him away. Chen Ronghuo raised his head slightly, why should I chase him away? I usually kill people without holding back. The unlucky Black Tiger shuddered. After hearing what Chen Ronghuo said, the fate of Wu Long, who had chased him to nowhere, was self-evident. It felt like it had just escaped from the wolf's mouth and entered the tiger's mouth again, as if something was wrong. It was the tiger, but the man in front of it was even more ferocious than the tiger. Chen Ronghuo looked down at the unlucky Black Tiger from a high position and slowly said, I am a demon magician, and I am still short of a contracted demon. You are lucky, and your fur is also good, so I like you. Now I will give you two choices, one is to let me contract you, and the other is to let me beat you up and then be contracted by me. The unlucky Black Tiger felt that his IQ was a little insufficient. Two choices? Is there any difference between these two choices? Oh, there is a difference. The difference is that if he offers his loyalty voluntarily, he won't be beaten. But in this case, what about the freedom it pursues all its life? It raised its head and said cautiously, Senior, Please be magnanimous and give me another choice. Boom. Suddenly, Chen Ronghuo took a step forward and activated the ancient book, slightly sealing part of the power of the Black Tiger of Misfortune. The Black Tiger of Misfortune was horrified, but just as it was about to resist, it found that its power, for some reason, seemed to be partially sealed. At this time, Chen Ronghuo moved and was already above its body, stepping on its back. Boom. After this kick, the Doom Black Tiger fell directly from the air, and with a bang, it hit the ground. After the Doom Black Tiger fell to the ground, it subconsciously raised its head and looked at Chen Ronghuo in the sky. Black light flashed in its eyes, and it instinctively used the Doom Eye technique on Chen Ronghuo. The strange power came from the void and poured into Chen Ronghuo's soul sea. However, before this power was automatically sealed by Chen Ronghuo's ancient book, it was instantly forced out by the disaster pearl hidden in his soul sea. At the same time, under the stimulation of this power, the law talisman in Chen Ronghuo's soul sea that was fused with the law of calamity shook slightly, and under the spontaneous counter-attack, it actually gathered all the strange powers that were forced out of his soul sea by the disaster pearl into one stream, and all rushed to the Doom Black Tiger. Puff! The Doom Black Tiger spat out a mouthful of blood. At the same time, it was not just in its mouth. Its nose, its ears, its eyes, all shed blood. Backlash. Chen Ronghuo's law of disaster is itself related to the law of luck. It is also the most restraining law of luck. The Black Tiger of Misfortune used the Eye of Misfortune on him, which was like an old man hanging himself because he thought his life was too long. Looking at the instantly wilting Black Tiger, Chen Ronghuo said lightly, "Now, do you choose to surrender to me immediately, or do you choose to be beaten by me again and then surrender?" Thanks to book friend 201703271528277723 for the 100 coin reward. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Landing 300 years in advance. Author, Xiaoji Depeng. Chapter 437. Feeling the endless ominous atmosphere, curses, bad luck, etc., shrouding himself, the Black Tiger of Doom trembled in his heart. It's like a person who is afraid of heights walks on a glass plank high in the sky. The attack on Chen Ronghuo just now was purely a subconscious act. When he meets someone who doesn't agree with him, he will first use the Eye of Misfortune technique, which has become an inertia for him. Only today did he realize that each mountain is higher than the other. At that moment, it seemed like it couldn't survive. It raised its head and glanced at Chen Ronghuo cautiously. "Senior, being able to become your demon pet is actually a blessing that I, Black Tiger, have cultivated for 8 lifetimes. Look at when you want to make a contract with me. Do you need to choose a good and auspicious day?" Chen Ronghuo looked strange. "This time, it seems that I have accepted another alien?" But he didn't care about that either. Anyway, for him now, as long as he's not too useless, that's enough. The Black Tiger of Doom's ability is relatively strange. If he subdues it, it might be useful in the future. A dragon that controls luck, a tiger that controls bad luck, and a cat that is neither a dragon nor a tiger. Chen Ronghuo feels that this combination is quite symmetrical. In a flash of thought, his eyebrows narrowed, and a red light shot out from it and shot into the body of the Black Tiger of Doom. This red light is the devil's contract. Although the Black Tiger of Misfortune is unwilling to give in, the big tiger has to bow its head even under the eaves. After a while, the demon contract was successfully signed. And Black Tiger also became the 8th demon pet in Chen Ronghuo's hands. At the same time, during this process, Chen Ronghuo also used secret techniques to directly convey his origins to the heart of the Black Tiger of Doom. Continent of the Gods. River Crab Collar? Between the two worlds. When Doom Black Tiger learned about Chen Ronghuo's origin from the message sent to him by Chen Ronghuo, his eyes widened. It never thought that Chen Ronghuo was not from the demon-sealed land. Especially when it learned that Chen Ronghuo could actually travel between the two worlds, its tiger eyes shone brightly, as if it had seen a rabbit. It did not belong to any power before. It is because of good luck that I have survived till now. But if it hadn't encountered Chen Ronghuo, it might have died at the hands of Wulong this time. But now, Chen Ronghuo actually told it that he could travel between the two worlds. Master, let's return to the continent of the gods quickly. The demon-sealed land is now smoky, and it's not a place for tigers to stay at all. The Black Tiger of Doom blinked his eyes and said, the person you just killed, was from the White Bone territory. Coupled with the huge noise coming from your fight, it won't be long before someone comes to check. Once it is found that Wulong died here, the Bones territory will definitely conduct a massive search nearby. Okay. Chen Ronghuo glanced at the Black Tiger of Doom. Since you are scared, then go back to recuperate first. When I come here this time, I still have some things to do. After saying that, he waved his hand, took out the map of two realms, opened a space passage, and sent the Black Tiger of Doom back to the continent of the gods. Of course, when opening the space channel, Chen Ronghuo also used his consciousness to slightly communicate with Shamao. He warned it of bad luck that the Black Tiger was his new pet and could not be eaten. Chen Ronghuo felt that if he didn't do this, the fat cat might become anxious and regard the Black Tiger of Doom as the cat food he had prepared for it, and swallow it in one gulp. Whoosh! After dealing with the Black Tiger of Doom, Chen Ronghuo immediately flashed his figure and quickly flew towards the cross-border teleportation array that led directly to the Baiman territory. In fact, when Huanglin went there, Dahe Crab had already memorized the spatial coordinates there. In other words, Chen Ronghuo can actually get there in just one breath. It was just that he wanted to see what the Shenyang territory looked like now, so he chose to fly all the way across like this. While rushing on the road, Chen Ronghuo discovered that the territory of Shenyang was already in ruins, as the blue-eyed Holy Thunder Beast said before. Except for a dozen large forces, almost all other small and medium-sized forces have disappeared in the Shenyang territory. I don't know how many lives were turned into bones. In the southern part of the Shenyang territory, at an unremarkable mountain peak, Chen Ronghuo stopped. The cross-border teleportation array is hidden in a small alien space under this mountain peak. It's just that there is a formation restriction guarding here, making it difficult for ordinary people to find it. Chen Ronghuo made a seal in his hand and made one mark after another on this ordinary hill. His accomplishments in the formation one way cannot compare to formation Kinzan. However, he used ancient books to calculate the method of one of the cultivation formations that was most suitable for him. After years of practice, he could be considered to have achieved a certain level of attainment. Ordinary formation masters may not be as accomplished as him in one of the formations. Buzz. After a moment, with a buzzing sound, a space vortex appeared out of thin air above the hill in front of him. Chen Ronghuo didn't hesitate, stepped out and walked in. This is a small alien space. There is nothing else in the alien space except an altar-like cross-border teleportation array. Through identification, Chen Ronghuo knew that this teleportation array was built by a former array master. It's just that the formation master has already disappeared into the river of history with the passage of time. Step into the formation. Activate the formation. Buzz. There was another roar. When Chen Ronghuo appeared again, he had already reached the Baiman territory. The distance of the interterritorial teleportation array is far, and practitioners with low cultivation will feel dizzy and their spiritual power will be scattered when using the interterritorial teleportation array. Of course, Chen Ronghuo will not have these problems. The other end of this interterritorial teleportation array is also located in an alien space in the Baiman territory. After arriving at this alien space, Chen Ronghuo took a quick look, opened the alien space, walked out directly, and walked into the Baiman territory completely. Buzz buzz buzz. After walking out of this alien space, Chen Ronghuo took out the two-world map, and saw that it was shaking in his hand, and he was slightly relieved. When Huanglin came to the Baiman territory through this interterritorial teleportation array, the big river crab's cultivation was still low, and it was difficult to locate the space here across a territory. This is also one of the reasons why Huanglin was trapped here for so long. But now, with the big river crab's cultivation breaking through to the 8th level, it can locate the spatial coordinates here even across a territory. This means that as long as Chen Ronghuo finds Huanglin, he can immediately tear open the atlas of the two worlds and take Huanglin away from here. Thinking of this, Chen Ronghuo raised his head, looked at the endless primeval forest around him, and took a deep breath. The air here is full of ominousness. Chen Ronghuo used the ancient book identification technique on the surrounding air. Breath of plague, the breath emitted by the pearl of the god of plague. Sure enough, Huanglin's entrapment is just a cover. Is it actually coming for me? Landing 300 years in advance. Author, Xiaoji Depeng. Chapter 438. After identifying that the air around him was filled with the breath of the god of plague generated by the god of plague pearl, Chen Ronghuo's heart immediately moved. He could still remember the god of plague pearl. Because this thing was the rare treasure held by Zhou Yuanhua, the first enemy he encountered after coming to this world. His body of disaster was taken from Zhou Yuanhua. But later Zhou Yuanhua brought the god of plague pearl to the demon sealing land, and he had no time to find Zhou Yuanhua. Is it really you? Chen Ronghuo's eyes were deep in thought. Before coming to the Baiman territory, he had used ancient books to calculate. But this matter consumed too much energy, so he could only calculate some superficial things. At this time, he vaguely felt that this matter might be related to Zhou Yuanhua, but he could not calculate the specific situation. Although his cultivation level improved quickly, Chen Ronghuo was not satisfied. My cultivation level is still a little short of upgrading to the half-step 8th level. Chen Ronghuo shook his head a little. He had previously killed Wu Long and subdued the Black Tiger of Doom. Although he had gained a lot of breath from the Law of Tribulation, he was still a little short of reaching the half-step 8th level. According to his estimation, if there were 4 or 5 more guys like Wu Long for him to kill, he would be able to level up. Killing monsters to level up, I guess the game that the gods are still working on is not yet perfect, right? Thinking of this, Chen Ronghuo looked up at the sky. In the sky of the sealed demon land, there are also gates of the Black Demon Star. However, those gates of the Black Demon Star are now closed, just like those on the continent of the gods. Since the Black Demon Star gate was opened once 100 years ago, these gates have never been opened again. And the people on the continent of the gods can only raise their cultivation to the 4th level at most by killing the monsters coming from the Black Demon Star gate. After the 4th level, the cultivator needs to comprehend the mysteries of the law before continuing to advance. In this regard, simply relying on the experience crystals purchased from the Golden Temple and killing monsters is not enough. Chen Ronghuo didn't know what the god's purpose was, but according to the information given to him by the ancient book when he first came to this world, the gods obviously needed nearly 200 years to completely perfect their plans. However, Chen Ronghuo is now a 7th level peak cultivator. The further a cultivator advances, the harder it is to advance. He can't predict what realm he will be able to reach in another 200 years. He cultivates the law of calamity, which can improve his cultivation by restraining everything. But those high-level beings are obviously not so easy to restrain. Just like Li Bing and soldiers like Meng Tian, they can also quickly improve their strength. But when their strength is improved to a certain level, it will be difficult to improve it again. After sorting out his thoughts in his mind, Chen Ronghuo immediately unfolded his body and flew straight to the cursed temple according to the route he calculated with the ancient book. Scenery after scene quickly disappeared from under Chen Ronghuo. Chen Ronghuo discovered that the Baiman territory was different from the Shenyang territory. Countless small forces in Shenyang territory were all killed by the Black Demon Palace, and even some villages no longer exist. In the Baiman territory, although there are no forces with powerful practitioners, some small forces and villages still exist. But this kind of existence is not a good thing. Chen Ronghuo swept his eyes and saw that all the villages he passed by were shrouded by the breath of the plague god. Under the cover of this breath, many lives have undergone changes. An old man with pus all over his face, a woman with green hair on his hands and feet, a child without hair. Flying all the way, feeling the pain of these people, Chen Ronghuo felt heavy in his heart. But he did not go down to help. A layer of twisted force field surrounded his body, so that he did not attract anyone's attention when he was flying. Although he has been in this world for so long, he is no longer a good person. But like this, he can't use the plague technique to cause chaos in the world. He thought of the time when Zhou Yuanhua used the earth disaster technique to change his fate, change his qualifications, and improve his cultivation in Lushwiven town, and drove countless strange insects to eat crops and plants. Is it really you? Suddenly, when Chen Ronghuo was flying forward, he swept his eyes and found a young man in green clothes outside a village, driving a big snake and spewing strange poisonous gas into the village. Wang Tong, second-level cultivator. Identity, outer disciple of plague god Tianzong. Note: Plague god Tianzong is one of the two sects under the Black Demon Palace. A message flowed through his heart. Plague god Tianzong? Seeing this person, Chen Ronghuo's heart moved slightly. Only then did he know why it was so difficult for him to calculate the matter about the Baiman territory. It turned out that this place was related to plague god Tianzong, one of the two Tianzong under the Black Demon Palace. With his current knowledge, he already knew that there were 2 sects, 3 leaders, and 4 halls under the Black Demon Palace. The Plague God sect was one of the 2 sects. The other sect was the Poison God sect. Is the Plague God sect's base in the Demon Sealing Land in the Baiman territory? Chen Ronghuo felt heavy in his heart, knowing that if this was true, then his action this time would probably be a little dangerous. The one who came this time was his stone fetus substitute, who was not afraid of death. But if he can survive, it is better to survive. The most important thing is that once he starts to act, but cannot rescue Huanglin, it may be difficult for him to save Huanglin next time. No matter what, let's see first. His mind was racing, and Chen Ronghuo immediately sped up. The Black Mountain Range. A strange mountain range in the Baiman territory. There are countless strange monsters in it, and at the same time, in this mountain range, you will feel a kind of pressure that is different from other places. The cursed temple that trapped Huanglin is in this mountain range. After Chen Ronghuo hurriedly traveled for a while, he disappeared in the void, stood in front of the Black Mountain Range, and looked inside. A big snake swam around the deep mountain range, and suddenly spit out the snake core, swallowing a giant eagle flying in the sky into its stomach. A toad squatted above a cold pond, croaking, and exuding gray-green poisonous gas all over its body. A palm-sized 3-legged strange bull was running wildly in the grass. But after encountering a white wolf, it opened its mouth and spit out a mouthful of black flames, burning the white wolf into ashes. The entire Black Mountain Range gave people a feeling of abnormal chaos. However, such chaos gave people a feeling of vitality. Unlike other places, it was shrouded in the breath of the plague god and was dead silent. However, Chen Ronghuo's eyes swept over here, but he was not careless at all. Instead, he identified all the things, whether remarkable or inconspicuous, through ancient books. Landing 300 years in advance. Author, Xiaoji Depeng. Chapter 439. Chen Ronghuo stood in front of the Black Mountain Range, looking inside, while gradually increasing his flying altitude. He could actually use soul power to explore. But this method is easy to attract people's attention. As he flew higher and higher, he gradually took in the entire Black Mountain Range. Soon, in the center of the Black Mountain Range, a gray-white palace, half on the ground and half underground, attracted his attention. This palace covers an area of more than 100 miles, and the whole thing looks like a strange closed city. Cursed Temple, the branch temple of the fallen curse god Wu Ming in the Baiman territory. Simplified version of the god trapping array, it can trap cultivators below the peak of the 8th level. Note 1, this array was set up by Xuanhuan, the son of the plague god Tianzong, who exchanged the array plate from the god trapping temple. Note 2, the complete version of the god trapping array can trap gods. Xuanhuan. After identifying the temple deep in the Black Mountain Range and the invisible formation surrounding the temple, Chen Ronghuo's eyes immediately showed a trace of doubt. Zhou Yuanhua, when did he become Zhou Huayuan? But to say that these are two people, that's too coincidental. Chen Ronghuo didn't know why Zhou Yuanhua became Zhou Huayuan, but after identifying the simplified version of the trap array shrouding the cursed temple, he knew why Huanglin was trapped here. 8th level peak. Chen Ronghuo took a deep breath. Now, his real strength is equivalent to the middle stage of the 8th level. So many years have passed, Huanglin has not encountered any danger here, and there should be no danger in the short term. Chen Ronghuo's eyes flashed. He knew that his idea of rescuing Huanglin this time was probably impossible to realize. With his current strength, if he forced his way into this cursed temple, he would most likely be trapped here like Huanglin. Thinking of this, he spread his body again and retreated 1,000 miles away. Then he found a hidden place, tore open the map of the two worlds, and returned to the crab territory. After breaking through to the 8th level, the big crab was able to locate the spatial coordinates of the Baiman territory, and Chen Ronghuo could also use this to return to the crab territory at any time. This time, he planned to improve his cultivation a little more and then come to save Huanglin. He knew that he only had one chance, so he had to be foolproof. Meow. As soon as Chen Ronghuo returned to the crab territory, the fat cat rushed into his arms, looking a little aggrieved. Before, the doomed black tiger was thrown over by Chen Ronghuo from the sealed demon land, and it thought it was a delicious meal that Chen Ronghuo caught for it. Chen Ronghuo glanced at the fat cat and rubbed its head helplessly. After so many years, the fat cat has also broken through to the 8th level. Chen Ronghuo did not find a dragon or tiger demon for it to eat, but he divided a part of the power of faith for it to practice. Not only fat cat, now all his pets, except the black tiger of misfortune that he just subdued, have reached the 8th level. If he had not been unable to practice because of refining the stone fetus of his substitute, it would be impossible for him to be at the peak of the 7th level until now. But it will be soon. Now all his powerful men have cultivated to the 8th level. With the help of these men, it is not as difficult for him to advance to the 8th level as before. When Fat Cat was acting coquettishly to Chen Ronghuo, the black tiger of misfortune, whose injuries had been treated by the seven-colored spirit butterfly not far away, looked at Fat Cat timidly. When it came over before, the cat almost swallowed it in one bite. It had heard humans say that cats were the masters of tigers before, but it didn't believe it at that time. But now it feels that this seems to make sense to it. Chen Ronghuo glanced at the black tiger of misfortune and knew what happened. He shook his head, exchanged feelings with several pets, and then gave an order to summon Wang Chao, Meng Tian, Zhang Ji, Chang Sun Yi, and Wu Piaoun. This time he wants to do something big. Shenyang territory. The place where Chen Ronghuo killed Wu long before. Two figures searched all the way and finally found this place. Wu Long should have been killed here, but although there are traces of battle here, there is no trace of breath left. Obviously, the person who killed him has dealt with the battlefield. A tall figure with many white bone barbs on the joints said coldly. This is obviously a Tiangu demon from Tiangu territory. I don't know which force this person is from. He is so brave that he dares to go deep into the hinterland of our territory and kill Wulong. Another Tiangu demon shook his head. Wulong's cultivation is not as high as theirs, but his qualifications are better than them. He is highly valued in the Dark Hall. This time, Wulong was killed, and the higher UPS directly sent out the 2 8th-level practitioners to investigate the cause of Wulong's death. It's a bit difficult to deal with. The battlefield was handled too cleanly, and there was not even a trace of breath left. Another person looked at the battlefield carefully again, looking a little helpless. The battlefield was handled so cleanly, I'm afraid only those who practice the law of life or the law of foreknowledge could figure out who killed Wulong. But there are too few practitioners who practice these two laws. Well, there is actually a space fluctuation here. Suddenly, the two of them had an idea, raised their heads at the same time, and looked into the distance. When they looked up, the space fluctuations in the distance had disappeared. But as the space fluctuations disappeared, they saw a cultivator in a black and red robe flying from a distance, approaching them in a hurry. It seemed that there was something behind him, chasing this person. This person was Chen Ronghuo. Is it a human? Seeing Chen Ronghuo, the two Tiangu demons were stunned. Then they separated a little without any hesitation, one on the left and one on the right, and quickly rushed forward to block Chen Ronghuo's way. This is the territory of their Tiangu territory. If they meet humans, they must be enemies. At the same time, they saw Chen Ronghuo running away in a panic, and they thought that behind Chen Ronghuo, there were strong men of their own race chasing Chen Ronghuo. Human, give up struggling and embrace death. You have been surrounded. A Tiangu demon laughed. Chen Ronghuo raised his head and set his eyes on the Skybone demon with a ferocious smile on his face. He stopped and said calmly, "You said, I am surrounded. Why, do you still want to struggle, stab?" Suddenly, when the Skybone demon was halfway through his words, he suddenly raised his head and looked in all directions. At this moment, he actually sensed 7 or 8 spatial fluctuations coming from all directions. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Landing 300 years in advance. Author, Xiaoji Depeng. Chapter 440. What's going on? Where do so many spatial fluctuations come from? The two Skybone demons raised their heads at the same time and looked in all directions. At this time, they all knew that something was wrong, but they were all in the dark about what happened. Chen Ronghuo looked at the two Skybone demons, and with a thought, he had already used the ancient book to seal the aura of himself and Wang Chao and others. Whoosh whoosh whoosh. Then, one after another figure flew over quickly from a distance. Wang Chao, Meng Tian, Zhang Ji, Wu Piaoun, Chang Sun Yi, and Chang Sun Gengzhang were among them. In addition, Fat Cat and the two sea and sky divine birds, as well as Little White Dragon, also followed this time. 8th level. 8th level. 8th level 8. We are actually surrounded. At this time, the two Skybone demons finally knew what happened. They set their eyes on the people who quickly surrounded them, and their hearts instantly turned cold, as if they were immersed in ice water. I don't know how so many 8th level human practitioners suddenly appeared in the territory of the Skybone. I'll give you two choices. When Wang Chao and others were approaching quickly, Chen Ronghuo looked at the two Skybone demons and said lightly, "What choice?" The two Skybone demons looked at Chen Ronghuo and stared at him. Like a ship lost in the sea, it suddenly found a lighthouse to guide itself. Escape, or not escape? When Chen Ronghuo saw Wang Chao and others approaching, a smile appeared on his face. You. Hearing Chen Ronghuo's answer, the two Skybone demons almost exploded with anger. This horse is also a choice? Clang clang. Just when the two of them were furious, the two sea and sky birds sent out a space blade when their wings were close together. Crossed into a dark cross, it printed towards the two people. Whoosh whoosh whoosh. Wang Chao bent his bow and arrow, performed the meteor arrow technique, shot a series of blood-red arrows, and also rushed straight to the two skybone demons to kill. Boom! Meng Tian raised his war spear high, exuding a monstrous fighting spirit, as if hundreds of millions of soldiers were roaring with him, vowing to die on the battlefield. Under the cover of countless attacks, the two skybone demons were extremely crazy, exuding rolling demonic energy. Their bodies all grew to more than 100 meters tall, and white bone spurs all over their bodies surged, with endless ferocity. They all knew that it was useless for them to do anything else at this time. Only by doing their best, maybe they could kill a ray of hope. But what made them despair was that Wang Chao and others who came to kill them looked similar to them in terms of cultivation. All of them were in the early 8th stage. But after they started fighting, Wang Chao and others showed strength far beyond them. Facing everyone, they felt that they were not facing an early 8th stage cultivator, but a mid-8th stage cultivator, even close to the late 8th stage cultivator. Boom! A huge explosion sounded. The fluctuations of this battle were too great, and Chen Ronghuo did not use the ancient book to seal it, but only used the ancient book to seal the aura of himself and others. Because if he chose to seal this huge wave with an ancient book, the energy consumed would be too much, and the gain would not be worth the loss. Thinking of this in his heart, Chen Ronghuo took a few steps back to avoid this powerful shock wave. The stronger the cultivator, the harder it is to kill. But it also depends on who is doing it. Wang Mengtian and others joined forces, plus Chen Ronghuo's pets. There were 8 or 9 people who attacked at the same time. And each of these 8 or 9 people who attacked was stronger than the 2 Tiangu demons. Therefore, with just one blow, the 2 Tiangu demons were killed on the spot in an instant. Chen Ronghuo took a few steps back and saw the broken bodies of the 2 Tiangu demons that were blown out from the center of the explosion. With a thought, he collected all their bodies. The bodies of the 8th level cultivators are already real treasures. Even if he does not have the ability of his left hand, he can sell such corpses to cultivators with special needs in exchange for precious treasures. As for him, who has the ability of his left hand, he can even take out the power of the law that the two people practiced, and then integrate it into the practitioners who practice the same power of law, so as to enhance their understanding of the power of law. Let's go. After the 2 Tiangu demons died, Chen Ronghuo felt a large amount of breath of the law of calamity coming. Without any hesitation, he immediately waved his hand, opened a space door between the two worlds, and quickly returned to the Hexi territory with everyone. The noise of the battle just now was too loud, and it would definitely attract the attention of the Tiangu territory soon. The death of 2 8th level practitioners is not a trivial matter even in the Tiangu territory. It doesn't take much to know that there will definitely be strong people coming here from the Tiangu territory next. What's going on? In the Tiangu territory, Daogu, whose cultivation has been restored to the 9th level, raised his head coldly and looked in the direction of the noise from Chen Ronghuo and his men killing 2 8th level practitioners in the Tiangu territory. Sir, the soul lamps of the Dark Hall law enforcement elders Zhang and Shui have gone out. A subordinate hurried over to report. How dare you do this in the heart of my Tiangu territory? After hearing the report from his subordinate, General Daogu showed a hint of sternness in his expression, and immediately stood up and left Tiangu territory, rushing straight to the scene of the incident. During this period, General Tiangu was in seclusion to recover his cultivation, and he was in charge of most of the affairs in the territory. Swoosh! Not long after, General Daogu arrived at the scene of the incident with several of his men. But after arriving here, he looked at the battlefield in front of him and frowned. One of his men analyzed at the side, Master Dao, this battlefield is a bit strange. There should be 8 or 9 people who took action. Each of these 8 or 9 people's cultivation level is not weaker than the 8th level. But this is the hinterland of our Tiangu territory. It is reasonable for a 9th level expert to go deep into it, but it is a bit unbelievable for 8 or 9 8th level cultivators to go deep here. And these people took care of the battlefield very well. Although you can see an almost crushing battle that took place here, you can't see anything else, and you can't find any trace of aura left. Dao Gujiang looked ugly. He rose into the air and spread the power of his soul, but even with the 9th level cultivation, he couldn't find any clues. What's going on? There shouldn't be any trouble in the Tiangu territory, right? At the same time, large forces such as Shenyang Tiancheng, Huofeng territory, and Bishan territory also sensed the movement led by Chen Ronghuo just now. The battle between 8th level cultivators was so loud that it was easy to spread the news to half of the territory. It's just that everyone is confused and doesn't know what happened in the Tiangu territory. Now that the Tiangu territory is so rampant, no one thinks that anyone dares to go deep into the Tiangu territory and cause trouble in the hinterland of the Tiangu territory. Because even if a 9th level cultivator goes to the hinterland of the Tiangu territory, if he is not careful, he may get trapped in it and find it difficult to escape. Landing 300 years in advance. Author, Xiaoji Depeng. Chapter 441. Half step to 8th level. Hurry. This time we will break through to 8th level soon. At the same time, Chen Ronghuo, who returned to the Hexian territory, had been in seclusion in the Hexian world for a short period of time. He refined all the breadth of the law of tribulation he had obtained this time, and after adding up his previous accumulation, he broke through to the 8th level in one fell swoop. The Shenyang territory is indeed a good place to improve your cultivation. Chen Ronghuo sensed the increase in his strength and deepened his understanding of the power of various laws, with a hint of excitement on his face. The death of 2 8th level heavenly bone demons brought him the breadth of the law of tribulation, which not only allowed him to break through to the 8th level, but also had a surplus. If you want to break through and become an 8th level cultivator, you only need to kill 4 or 5 ordinary 8th level cultivators. Chen Ronghuo's eyes were burning. Just do it if you want to do it. After Chen Ronghuo made his decision, he quickly gathered his subordinates together again. Dahi Crab can mark the coordinates of space, allowing people to travel back and forth between the continent of the gods and the land of demons at will. It would be a bit silly if he didn't use this to the extreme. He didn't use it in the past because of insufficient cultivation. Once he was caught, he might not have time to return to the river crab territory through the space channel, and he would be killed on the spot. But as his cultivation becomes stronger and stronger, the chance of him being easily killed is no longer high. At the same time, Chen Ronghuo also knew that he had to improve his strength as soon as possible. Meng Tian had previously killed Pan Bo in the White Tiger territory, so there might be no problem in a short period of time, but once the White Tiger territory couldn't find anything and became angry, it was very likely that he would attack them. After all, the place where Pan Bo died was the border of the Five-Color Sea area where their river crab territory was located. It shouldn't take too long for me to go from level 7 to level 8, or even from level 8 to level 9. But after reaching level 9, it may be difficult for me to improve my cultivation. Chen Ronghuo knew his situation. He knew that he had to seize all the time when it was easiest to improve his cultivation as soon as possible without any delay. Because only in this way can he accumulate enough time for the future. Our goal this time is a spiritual medicine garden in an alien space in the Tiangu territory. The land of demons. A group of 8 people quickly rushed to a place. These 8 people were none other than Chen Ronghuo and 8 others. This time, he did not bring Shamao or the others, but he did bring Zhu Daipen and Li Haishui. As Chen Ronghuo hurried on, he said, according to my estimation, there is an 8th level mid-level heavenly bone demon sitting in the elixir garden. After we passed there, our main goal was to kill the mid-8th level heavenly bone demon, and then plunder the elixirs from the elixir garden. After such a long time, Chen Ronghuo's men naturally knew that Chen Ronghuo had the ability to perform deductions. So I wasn't surprised when he said this. But they didn't know that Chen Ronghuo had almost consumed a tenth of the energy accumulated in the ancient books over the years in order to calculate the elixir garden where the mid-8th level heavenly bone demon was stationed. Lord, don't worry, with so many of us taking action together, that person will definitely not be able to escape. Zhu Deipen said with a smile. With wide eyes, he followed Chen Ronghuo and looked in all directions. Now, although his cultivation level has reached the 8th level, his out-of-the-box personality has still not changed. Chen Ronghuo nodded. Killing a mid-8th level skybone demon can bring him the breath of the law of tribulation, which is almost equivalent to killing 2 ordinary early 8th level skybone demon. So this time, Chen Ronghuo is determined to win. Whoosh 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 whoosh. Not long after, a group of people, led by Chen Ronghuo, came to a valley only 5 or 6,000 miles away from the Tiangu territory. It is 5 to 60,000 miles away, but for 8th level cultivators like them, they can reach it in just a few breaths. Therefore, it is already quite dangerous for them to attack the people in the Tiangu territory here. Who? Chen Ronghuo and others suddenly appeared, immediately attracting the attention of the guards of the elixir garden deep in the valley and in an alien space. A 5th level heavenly bone demon guard felt the tremendous pressure coming from Chen Ronghuo, and subconsciously took out a black bell and was about to ring it. But as soon as his thoughts moved, a burst of black light appeared in Chen Ronghuo's eyes, and he immediately stood there obediently, motionless. At the same time, several of the subordinates next to this 5th level skybone demon were frozen there, their faces quickly turning grey, as if they had lost their souls. But the eyes of Chen Ronghuo and his group were not on these people. Instead, it landed on a space door behind them that was sealed with strange energy. This space door is obviously the space door connecting that alien space. Lord, shall we force our way in? Zhu Deipen rubbed his fists, a little eager to try. Need not. Chen Ronghuo shook his head, there are many elixirs in this alien space. If we fight in it, we will definitely destroy a lot of elixirs. He already regards the elixir in this alien space as his own private property, so naturally he doesn't want to fight in it. With a thought in Chen Ronghuo's mind, the black bell that had just been held by the 5th level skybone demon came into his hands. He took the bell and played with it for a while before returning it to the skybone demon. At the same time, he used the secret technique of the demon soul to continue to confuse and drive the skybone demon, and asked him to help him ring the bell. Ding-ling-ling. A pleasant bell rang in the void, ringing 3 times in a row. Huh? An important person from the territory came to get the elixir. This sound is not special, but the mid-8th level heavenly bone demon sitting here in the elixir garden in the alien space, after hearing this sound, his heart moved and he immediately put down all the activities in his hands. Preparing to open the space door and welcome the arrival of important figures in the Tiangu territory. He is sitting here and has already told the guards of the spiritual medicine garden that when someone comes, he must notify himself in different ways when different people come. At this time, the bell rings 3 times in a row, which means that an important person is coming to the Tiangu territory. I don't know who he is, but he came here at this time. With doubts, he flashed and walked out of the alien space. Well, you guys. After coming out of the alien space, the heavenly bone demon was stunned when he saw Chen Ronghuo and his party. He didn't understand what was going on for a while. Do it, we don't have much time. Just seeing this person appear, after Chen Ronghuo identified his information and confirmed that he was the cultivator sitting here, Chen Ronghuo immediately gave the order without any hesitation. Boom boom boom. In the astonished gaze of the mid-8th level heavenly bone demon, a group of people immediately took action, chopping melons and vegetables. Thanks to European newbie for the 100 coin reward landing 300 years in advance author, Chao Ji Dupang. Chapter 442. Wood Taoist, 8th level Demon Wood Warlock. Race, Skybone Demon, acquired. Birth Demon Wood, Green Scale Dragon Vine. Qualification, 9. Secret Skills, Wood Emperor Heaven Secret, Wood Spirit Cultivation, Life Plunder, Giant Vine Transformation, Heaven Reaching Roar. Chen Ronghuo looked at the Wood Taoist who came out of the spiritual medicine garden in the other dimension in the distance, and immediately gave the order to start. Murder! Come and help! But at this moment, a roar that reached the sky and the earth suddenly roared out from the mouth of the Wood Taoist. This roar was so huge, as if a person was in crisis and was about to die, full of despair, and only thought about whether someone would come to rescue him. Chen Ronghuo and others cursed in a low voice. The sound made by the Wood Taoist was so loud that they were all shocked. At the same time, it was the first time they met such a person. You made such a loud shout before you even started. Are you still an 8th level mid-stage cultivator? As an 8th level mid-stage cultivator, can you be a FantasyBillion? While cursing, Chen Ronghuo showed a helpless look on his face. The roar of the Taoist wood was issued by the secret technique he mastered, the Sky Roar. If he wanted to seal the roar issued by such a secret technique, the consumption was too great, so he could only let it spread. Look at my giant vine change. After shouting to the direction of the Tiangu territory for help, the Taoist wood waved his hand, and a dark green scaly giant vine appeared in front of him. Some branches of this dark green giant vine were woven into the shape of a dragon head, which was extremely majestic. After it appeared, it immediately grew in the wind, and in the blink of an eye it changed into thousands of meters long, circling and protecting the Taoist wood in it. Whoosh whoosh. The strong wind swept, forming a storm. Under this terrifying storm, all the living things around the valley were swallowed up by the body of the dark green giant vine dragon, which made it grow bigger and bigger. Even Chen Ronghuo and others who were far away felt that the vitality in their bodies began to flow to the dark green giant vine dragon at different speeds. This is an extremely terrifying secret technique. If it were a low-level cultivator, it would not take long for the vitality to be sucked out and turned into a pile of dry bones. Of course, this secret technique did not have much effect on Chen Ronghuo and others. Looking for death. How audacious! At the same time, angry shouts rang out from the direction of Tiangu territory. The owner of one of the voices was Daogu General. He went to look for the beast that killed 2 8th level strong men in the heart of Tiangu territory but failed, and he was angry. He never thought that at this juncture, someone would dare to mess up one of their spiritual medicine gardens in Tiangu territory, which was only tens of thousands of miles away from the territory. In this case, how could he not be angry? Whoosh whoosh whoosh. After noticing the movement here, the strong men in charge of this matter in Tiangu territory instantly rushed towards Chen Ronghuo and others. Those who dared to touch their Tiangu territory at such a close distance were already thoroughly provoking their Tiangu territory. If they couldn't take down the people in the future, then their Tiangu territory would become a laughing stock among the subordinate forces of the Black Demon Palace. Now that the Tiangu God General is in seclusion to break through the realm, none of them can bear such a responsibility. Whoosh whoosh. Chen Ronghuo sensed the movement, and his mind moved. He immediately communicated with the 2 sea and sky birds and asked them to block the movement here. Clang! Clang! The 2 birds received Chen Ronghuo's order and immediately cried out, happily vibrating their snow-white wings. As the huge wings flapped, the surrounding void immediately vibrated continuously, forming a large void storm. Surrounded by the void storm, all the movements in this area were covered up. Daogu and others who flew out of Tiangu's territory released their soul power, trying to find out who dared to make trouble in the heart of their territory. As a result, after the soul power probed into the void storm laid by the sea and sky divine bird, it was all twisted to other places, and nothing could be detected. Humph! Is this useful? Hide your head and tail, Wait for us to arrive, I'll see where you can escape. A group of people sped up. It would only take them a few breaths to get there at a distance of tens of thousands of miles, especially for several of them who were 9th level practitioners. Boom! A series of blood-colored arrows connected into a line, as if a blood river rolled back from the sky, killing the dark green dragon. A bronze spear crossed the sky, with a monstrous fighting spirit, and also attacked the dark green vine dragon, as if to slay the dragon and kill the god. Zhu Daipen and Li Haishui turned into two figures, one fat and one thin, burning their spirits and energy, and each punched out a golden and red fist with the power of immortality and undeath, and hit the dragon. As if to blow it up with one punch. Killed the Taoist Mu who was hiding inside and had just scared everyone. At the same time, Wu Piaoun, Chang Sunyi and others also used their own killing skills. The Taoist Mu, who was protected by the dark green giant vine dragon, was so scared that his liver trembled when he saw this horrible scene. Although his strength was not bad, he knew in his heart that with his strength, facing so many powerful attacks at the same time, he might not be able to hold on for a breath and would be beaten to pieces. Stop, I surrender. Don't kill me. I am willing to surrender to you. I have refined the spiritual medicine garden in this alternate dimension. There are many precious spiritual medicines in this spiritual medicine garden. I can temporarily put them into the turbulent flow of the void and get them for you later. And I was originally a human, but I was forced to transform into a sky-bone demon. But over the years, I have found a way to get rid of the sky-bone demon body. As long as I am given some time, I can definitely get rid of the sky-bone demon body. When saying this, the Taoist Mu was also decisive, and he instantly took back the dark green giant vine dragon that was circling around him. He even slapped his chest with a bang. He used a strange and unique method to seal the power in his body. Chen Ronghuo was stunned. The Skybone territory has a way to control the Skybone demons, so all the Skybone demons he met have always been more willing to die. I didn't expect that the Taoist Mu I met this time would actually say such a thing. Tao Mu. Status, self-sealed with the Wood Emperor sealing technique, only part of the soul power is left to operate. When the cultivation is self-sealed, the recovery power is increased tenfold, but it takes 3 hours to unseal the cultivation. Chen Ronghuo quickly identified the status of Taoist Mu. Thanks to Xinjing RU11 for the 100 coin reward. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Landing 300 years in advance. Author, Xiaoji Depeng. Chapter 443. Stop. After seeing Mu Taoist state, Chen Ronghuo hurriedly shouted. Recruiting an 8th level mid-level cultivator is certainly more rewarding than killing him. Boom boom boom. After hearing Chen Ronghuo's order, Wang Chao Mengtian and others hurriedly put away their offensive. It's just that their attacks are too strong, and they went all out just now. It's already difficult to put them away now. Therefore, several of them could only try their best to deflect their attacks and hit them elsewhere. Amidst loud noises, the alien space behind Mu Daomen was immediately penetrated by holes filled with various laws. Alien spaces are also different. Some alien spaces can also be refined. It's just that this kind of alien space is extremely rare and precious. In addition, although these alien spaces can be refined, they cannot be taken into the body, so they still cannot be compared with the attribute planes that can be taken into the body after being refined. Mu Daoren turned his head and saw that the alien space behind him was beaten like this, and he felt heartbroken. But no matter what, he saved his life this time. He exhaled a long breath, and with a thought, he used the remaining power of his soul to banish the elixir garden behind him into the turbulent flow of the void. In this way, when this elixir garden reappears somewhere in the future, he will still be able to find this elixir garden. but the people in the Tiangu territory will lose this elixir garden forever. But as soon as he finished doing this, before he could say anything, Zhu Daipen, who quickly rushed to him, grabbed his neck like a chicken and lifted him up. A large black and white portal opens. Led by Chen Ronghuo, a group of people quickly walked in. The void storm created by the two surrounding divine birds of the sea and sky covered up all movement. At the same time, when leaving, he also used the sealing technique of the ancient book to cover up the presence of himself and others this time. Chen Ronghuo knew that he was not strong enough now, and it was not yet time to face the Tiangu territory. Whoosh whoosh whoosh. Chen Ronghuo and his party had just left the demon sealing land when General Swordbone and several strong men from the Tiangu territory rushed over quickly. In addition to the Swordbone general, there are also two heavenly bone demons, who are also 9th level powerhouses. There are many powerful people in Tiangu territory. In addition to them, there are many others who are entangled with major forces outside. But after rushing into the gradually dissipating void storm, they looked at the deserted valley, their eyes all condensed. Chen Ronghuo and others, who were like catching turtles in a urn in their eyes, all disappeared. Lord General God, the elixir garden here in our Tiangu territory has also disappeared. It must have been thrown into the void turbulence by the person just now. The other people should have used some kind of space movement technique that could erase traces and left here. A heavenly bone demon said. The Blade General nodded and said nothing. He glanced over, and after realizing that there was no strange aura left here, he immediately thought of the people who had previously killed the two 8th level sky bone demons in their territory. What a good idea! A grin appeared on his face. After cultivators reach the 9th level and advance further, they can choose to become gods. There are 5 levels of gods. They are the lower gods, the middle gods, the high gods, the half-step pillar gods, and the strongest pillar gods. Among them, there are only a few pillar gods in the entire world of gods. There are more half-step pillar gods, but they are only a few dozen at most. Then there are the high gods, that is, the higher gods. There are more gods at this level, but the number is also limited. And he was once one of the 7 high-ranking gods who were seated by the heavenly bone god. Even though his strength is now at a loss, the dignity of the once high god still exists, and no one is allowed to play tricks in front of him. Su Tianduo Sword Bone General looked at the heavenly bone demon beside him and said, "Go to the Zhen temple and ask them to borrow an artifact called Dun Tianchuo. Just do as I say. The Escape Sky Shuttle is a god-level secret treasure that increases speed." He just came out of the Tiangu territory. Although he only took a few breaths, he was still a little slow. If he had just had the Escape Sky Shuttle in his hand, he was confident that he would definitely be able to prevent those hiding people from escaping. Next time. Finally a near miss. After returning from the demon-sealed land, Chen Ronghuo shook his head secretly. Now the energy accumulated in his ancient books is running out. The energy he accumulated in ancient books over the years was not used in battle, but all in calculations. For example, before heading to the demon-sealed land this time, he used ancient books to calculate how strong the defensive power of the Tiangu territory was. With the strength of the Tiangu territory, if he wants to calculate things in this area, how can the consumption be small? However, if he had not calculated in advance, there would be no way that he would have gone around the house in Tiangu territory, knocked his elixir garden into turbulent voids, and brought back the Taoist Mu who was guarding the elixir garden. Committing such an act of seeking death. Kill the people in Tiangu territory 3 times in a row. If you go there again, you have to be careful. Chen Ronghuo touched his chin, knowing that he was not strong enough and could no longer go to the Tiangu territory. But I subdued Mu Dao Ren, and with his help, I pushed the spiritual medicine garden of Tiangu territory into the turbulent flow of the void. This time, I harvested a lot of breath of the law of calamity. Chen Ronghuo pondered secretly, but these breaths of the law of calamity are not enough for me to break through to the 8th level. It would be great if I could fight or kill an 8th level mid-stage cultivator. Chen Ronghuo shook his head and then set his eyes on Mu Dao Ren. After returning to Hexi territory, he sent everyone else out, leaving only Mu Dao Ren by his side. Mu Dao Ren, who was covered with white bone spurs, was confused at this time. This is not the land of demon sealing, but the continent of gods. I was actually taken to the continent of gods by this group of people. Mom, who is this person? He can travel back and forth between the land of demon sealing and the continent of gods at will without the help of the passage between the two realms. Mu Dao Ren was talking about his mother. Although he is not young, he is also a strong second generation because his mother is very strong. At the same time, he was indeed forced to transform into a Skybone demon and join the Skybone territory. Chen Ronghuo looked at Mu Dao Ren with cloudy eyes and was a little curious. It was the first time for him to observe a living Skybone demon so closely and carefully. Let me introduce myself. My name is Chen Ronghuo. This is the Crab World, my territory. After a moment, Chen Ronghuo said, since you plan to surrender, you will be mine from now on, do you understand? Chen Ronghuo walked to Mu Dao Ren and slowly touched the bone spur on his body. Mu Dao Ren was shocked. This bone spur is the most sensitive part of the Skybone demon. Coupled with Chen Ronghuo's words and Chen Ronghuo's gentle movements, he felt his old face blushing for a while. Don't resist. Seeing Mu Dao Ren's body trembling, Chen Ronghuo frowned. Although Mu Dao Ren said that he would be able to shed his Skybone demon body if he was given some time, he knew that Mu Dao Ren could not do this in a short time. So he planned to use his left-hand ability to help Mu Dao Ren shed his heavenly bone demon body. Finally succeeded. In the White Tiger territory, Bai Chunping, the nephew of the White Tiger Grand Duke and an 8th level mid-level cultivator, looked at the majestic White Tiger standing in front of him, as huge as a mountain, and couldn't help but smile with joy. After many days of waiting, his companion tiger beast finally broke through from the 8th level mid-level to the 8th level late level. Tomorrow I don't have much time, so I can only update twice as usual, but the day after tomorrow during the limited free period, I will try to update more for you. In addition, the 300 years should be coming to an end now. There are only 200 years left, and I will speed up the process next. Landing 300 years in advance. Author, Xiaoji Depeng. Chapter 444. Demon Sealed Land. Chen Ronghuo made a lot of noise several times, and everyone knew that someone had sneaked into the heart of Tiangu territory, killed several 8th level Tiangu demons, and escaped. Although Tiangu territory is powerful, the 8th level Tiangu demons are not cabbages in Tiangu territory. Many people want to know who did this. But after asking each other, they couldn't find out any information. The indigenous forces in Shenyang territory all felt incredible. You say, this couldn't be done by Chen Ronghuo? He can travel back and forth between the God's continent and the demon-sealed land at will, and only he can get away perfectly after doing this. In the Five Factions Alliance, a group of high-level people gathered together and speculated. They really couldn't think of anyone else who could do this except Chen Ronghuo. Because most of the space transfer techniques have traces to follow. Even if it is a 9th level strongman, when performing space transfer techniques, he will not leave no traces. Killing several 8th level Skybone demons in succession, including one 8th level mid-level Skybone demon, Chen Ronghuo should not have the strength to do this, right? Some people did not believe it. Chen Ronghuo's cultivation level has improved fast enough. Not long ago, when Chen Ronghuo said that he was a 7th level cultivator, they believed it. But it has only been so long. If Chen Ronghuo said that he killed several 8th level cultivators, they really don't believe it. What's more, they have heard that the dead 8th level cultivators were killed instantly. A little guy who has only practiced for 100 years can do this? He said that he also has several 8th level cultivators. If it is really him, maybe he and his men did this together. The blue-eyed Holy Thunder Beast shook his head, but if it is really him, I can't figure out what his purpose is in doing this. Hexy leader, Mudeo Ren let out a long breath. He stood in front of Chen Ronghuo, looking at the white bone spurs that had shed off his body, and his face couldn't help showing a comfortable look. The feeling of regaining a human body was so cool. Thank you for saving me, Lord. From now on, I am willing to follow you forever. Mudeo Ren bowed deeply to Chen Ronghuo, but when he bowed his head, he blinked. This river crab lord is a bit magical. Not only does it have an attribute plane, but Chen Ronghuo, as a lord, can actually use his means to help him shed his heavenly bone demon body. It's really incredible. There are several kinds of people in this world. One kind is that if you save me, I will repay you with my life, but there are too few such people. One kind is that if you save me, I will remember it in my heart and repay you when I have the opportunity to do so in the future. One kind is that they just save you, but they don't have much gratitude in their hearts. But there is another kind of person, you saved me, but I have my eyes on your treasure. Sorry, the treasure belongs to the virtuous, you have no virtue, so give it to me. Mudeo Ren is better, not the last type, nor the third type, but the second type. But although he is grateful to Chen Ronghuo for bringing him back from Tiangu territory, thinking that he will have the opportunity to repay Chen Ronghuo in the future, he has no intention of working for Chen Ronghuo. So he thought about whether he could fool Chen Ronghuo first, and then find a chance to leave Hexy territory and go to his mother. Chen Ronghuo stood in front of Mudeo Ren and said, "Don't you feel pain when you say something against your will?" Ah! Mudeo Ren froze, pretending to be puzzled, and then seemed to react, and hurriedly said, "Lord, you must believe me, I promise you, what I say is 100% true. Do you know that there is a law called the law of truth and falsehood?" Chen Ronghuo interrupted Mudeo Ren indifferently. Mudeo Ren couldn't say a word. As an 8th level cultivator with a powerful mother, he naturally knew that this world was woven by endless laws. The law of truth and falsehood is one of the endless laws. When Chen Ronghuo said this, he subconsciously thought that Chen Ronghuo was practicing this law. The laws of the world are high and low. If the power of law is compared to a big tree, there are 3,000 main trunk laws, 100,000 branch laws. Like the 5 elements law in the main trunk law, it is composed of 5 branch laws of gold, wood, water, fire, and earth. But under the branch law, there are a series of lower-level small leaf laws such as burning, heat dissipation, and burning. This kind of small leaf law is really endless. And the law of truth and falsehood is one of the 3,000 main trunk laws. Telling lies in front of a cultivator who cultivates this kind of law power is like a thief reaching out to steal the bracelet of a policeman under the police's watch. Chen Ronghuo looked calm. He naturally did not practice the law of truth and falsehood, but he had an ancient book and could judge the truth of what Mudeo said. "Lord." Mudeo frowned, "You saved me, I am very grateful, but if I stay in your territory, it may not be a good thing for you. I have a mother, she is very strong. This is the truth." Chen Ronghuo interrupted Mudeo and said with a smile, "I am very interested in your mother. You join my territory first, and you can call your mother over later." After Chen Ronghuo calculated and found that the energy required to calculate Mudeo Ren's mother was ridiculously high, he immediately knew that he seemed to have really picked up a treasure this time. Mudeo Ren was an 8th level mid-stage cultivator, which was somewhat useful to him now, but not so much in the future. But the powerful mother mentioned by Mudeo Ren was not necessarily the same. Chen Ronghuo became interested in her. Mudeo Ren's face trembled. "I won't force you too much." Chen Ronghuo continued, with black light surging between his eyebrows, and he performed the 33 days of soul suppression technique to summon a wisp of soul. Just put this in your mind. We can discuss your mother's affairs later. When Chen Ronghuo was attacking Mu Dao Ren, in the White Tiger territory, a young man, leading a white tiger, confidently walked out of the White Tiger territory and flew straight to the direction of the Crab territory. Roar. As soon as he left the territory, the White Tiger let out a powerful roar. Good boy, let's not shout for now. Keep a low profile so that others won't disturb our good deeds. The young man patted the White Tiger's head affectionately. When things are over, I will let you shout for 3 days and 3 nights. The White Tiger got a head pat and immediately turned around and rubbed its head against the young man. This young man was Bai Chunping, the nephew of the White Tiger Duke, an 8th level mid-level cultivator. And the White Tiger he was holding was his companion White Tiger spirit pet. The White Tiger, which was originally as huge as a mountain, had shrunk to more than 1 person tall at his request.